رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. مقرب بالزن الماء. قال الإمام النووي رحمه الله تبارك وتعالى ونفعنا بعلومه في الدارين. قال وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: حق المسلم على المسلم 5: رد السلام، وعيادة المريض، واتباع الجنائز، وإجابة الدعوة، وتشميت العاطس. متفق عليه. وفي رواية لمسلم: حق المسلم 6: إذا لقيته فسلم عليه، وإذا دعاك فأجبه، وإذا استنصحك فانصح له، وإذا عطش فحمد الله فشمته، وإذا مرض فعده، وإذا مات فاتبعه. So continuing with the chapter of the sanctity of Muslims and observing that sanctity and fulfilling their rights, showing them kindness and mercy. So from the hadith of Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that the right of the Muslim upon another Muslim are 5. Number 1, raddu salam, to reply to salam. Now this is something we need to understand. To offer salam is a great thing to do. It's a sunnah muakkada in fact. But to answer is wajib. If someone gives you salam, then you must reply. It is a wajib. And not only you must reply, but you must reply in such a way that the person hears you. Sometimes, assalamu alaikum. You didn't hear it. So I actually think that you didn't reply, and reply to the salam. So you must actually, reply the salam. When you're giving salam, make sure that they hear that. And then when you're replying, the radd the salam, the returning of the greeting of salam, make sure that the person hears you. Okay, radd the salam wa i'adat al-marid, to visit the sick. This is something we really, need to revive. Myself included. People are sick all around us. So they might be sick physically, they might be sick spiritually, they might be sick emotionally. Visit them. Visiting the sick, ittiba' al-janaiz, to follow. It means literally to follow the funeral or the funeral procession. But actually, what it means is to attend the funeral of people when they die. Wa ijabat ad-da'wah, and to accept the invitation. People invite you to their house, invite you to dinner. This is another thing, that we've lost. We've lost this tradition. When we go to our traditional places in the Indian subcontinent, in the Arab world, this was one of the salient traditions, one of the traditions that had a great influence on me to accepting Islam. Everywhere I went, people they don't know me, they don't know who I am, I'm a traveler. Tfaddal, right? And so we've lost this. Nobody invites people to their houses. And if they do invite, they invite you to the restaurant. Personally, I don't want to go to a restaurant. If you're going to invite them to your house. This used to be the tradition. People used to actually fight. In Makkah, when I was a student there, so the old people told me, in the days before the riches and the oil and all that. So what we used to do, the Hujjaj used to come from wherever they would be coming from. And we, the people of Makkah, were poor and we didn't have the wherewithal, but we saw this as a great honor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to honor these Hujjaj and bring them as our guests. And we used to have a special room for the Hujjaj, or the Mu'tamideen, the people going for Umrah or for Hajj. And we would, wait out in the streets and say, please, grace our house and be our guest. They thought that was a great honor, and of course it is. And a great barakat that would come along with that. And they wouldn't ask anything. They would say, okay, and it's going to cost you, 25 riyals a night or 300 riyals a night. No. They wouldn't ask, they wouldn't dare even accept anything, because they want the ajr from Allah. And then the Hujjaj, what they would do, because they were generally more wealthy, that's how they were able to actually come there in the first place. So what they would do is, after they would stay there for the time of Hajj, they would take money and put it under the pillow or something like that, And then the people would, clean that and then find that, and they would say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. We've lost our ajr, that something of the dream. Maybe they would just give it away and set it up. But that was a tradition, and one of the beautiful traditions. And I think, as is mentioned in hadith, that who revives my sunnah, عند فساد أمتي فله أجر 100 شهيد. The person who revives my sunnah in the time of the fasad, when my sunnah will be corrupted, and my whole lifestyle, the whole lifestyle of Islam will be corrupted. So for that person who revives those beautiful, that beautiful lifestyle of Rasulullah and all those traditions, for him will be the reward of 100 shaheeds. So somebody asks, Ya Rasulullah, shaheeds of our time or their time? No, you're shaheeds of your time, shaheeds of the Sahaba. This, because this is the life of Deen, the embodiment and the enactment of and demonstration of Rasul, and the living example of the Sunnah of Rasul is the life of Deen, in fact. Okay, so now, however, invitation of the Dawah, now on the other side of the coin, the invitation of Dawah, you don't invite people to come to my party, which is going to be on the other side of, Los Angeles, and it's going to take you an hour and a half to get there, and it's at 10 o'clock at night. It becomes a burden for people. So Dawah, on the one hand, we invite people, to our houses, we invite them for dinner, we invite them for, to join. But we shouldn't put people in trouble. And that's, we're either one extreme or the other, My daughter's getting married, and so you have to come from, India here to the United States and visit and attend my wedding. Come on. So our habit was, in Karachi when my kids were married. So what we would do is that the day of the actual marriage, so that day in Zuhr Namaz, we would, just give it an announcement. Okay, there's my son or daughter, whoever's just married, we're having the walima right at the house, so everybody, tafaddal. And I learned this in Yemen. I was in Yemen after Jummah, somebody stood up and said, hey, there's a walima in so-and-so's house. We walked down 5 minutes, we ate 10, 15 minutes, everybody was gone. Back to the masjid in Qailula. So on one hand, to revive the Sunnah of Dawah, but don't make it a problem for people, Make it, simple, organic, and, don't put people in trouble, and do it at a time where it's not going to put people into trouble, right? And lastly, tashmit al-atis. When somebody sneezes, and in the next hadith it's going to say that when the person says, Alhamdulillah, this is something that actually is in the tradition here also. So they must have had, this must be a prophetic tradition from before Rasulullah. God bless you. When you sneeze here, they say, God bless you. So that's also our tradition. However, we say it much more beautifully, I think, Alhamdulillah. So if he says, Alhamdulillah, then we say, Yarhamukallah. And so these are the 5 rights of every Muslim. And in this other riwayat of Sahih Muslim, there's another extra one. And if he seeks advice, give him advice. And this is another salient characteristic of Muslims, that we seek advice from one another. We don't think we know everything, right? So if someone seeks you good advice or good counsel, then give it to him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who they hear and they obey. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك والسلام عليكم